So what is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Borderlands 3 video, and today we are going to be going through a comparison, just showing you how good the new generation of console is versus my very own streaming PC. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise let's get straight into this video. So by now it's pretty clear that the next generation of console is streets ahead of the previous generation. But how does it stand up against a very capable PC? Not to mention my PC, my streaming PC. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week. And otherwise, let's get straight into this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Xbox Series S, which is the £250 Xbox, which is the entry level. It's the smaller capacity, but it still packs a punch, and we are going to be putting it up against my PC. Now my PC runs an Intel i7, a 2060 Super GPU, and has 64 gigabytes of RAM. Now obviously I will not be streaming like I normally am when doing this test, but what we're going to do is we are going to test how fast the game boots up, if there are any visual differences between the two, and how fast it takes the game to load from point A to point B. After that, we're then just going to discuss anything that I've noticed while playing the actual game itself. Right then, guys, let's get straight into it then. So first up, it is the loading times. Now the one thing to note about the loading times that is different between PC and Xbox is PC have that extra AMD sign. However, Xbox do have like this little sign-on profile as well. I do think the AMD takes slightly longer, which is kind of why we see these PC times a little bit more extended, but overall they are very close. Next up, we're going to have the actual load times from Covenant Pass to Sanctuary. This one, again, I've tried to make it as close as we can to when the button was pressed, and you'll see here it's absolutely nip and tuck. As we step around Sanctuary here, you'll notice the side-by-side comparison between the Xbox and the PlayStation, and there is absolutely nothing in it. Literally nothing in it. If anything, I think the Xbox does shade it, just because I like the colorization of the Xbox here versus what I can get on my PC. The final thing that I just want to talk about as well is if you look at this side-by-side comparison of the Xbox versus the PC on the character model, you'll notice on the PC we have this black outline around Moe's. Now I always thought that Moe's looked and the characters on PC looked really good, but there's just something about the lack of black lines on the Xbox and the 3D model that really makes this 3D model pop off screen. And it was one of the first things I noticed when actually going into the game was, wow, this looks a lot different. So now that we have discussed the Xbox versus my PC in terms of load times and map transitions, let's have a look at my overall thoughts about the game itself. The first thing that stood out when I loaded up the Xbox and Borderlands on the Xbox was how absolutely beautiful the game looked. It seemed to be a little bit brighter than I normally was used to. The frame rate was absolutely stable. I never noticed any drops at all, even when in intense fighting. One of the main problems with console was the menu system when in the menu itself and in vending machines. But as you can see here, you can spam across the menu as much as you want and you won't have any problems at all. We also tested the vending machines when we were streaming to see if we could break it by spamming in and out of the menu system, but we could not do that. We tried it with the bank as well, and that wouldn't work. So all in all, the game is very fast, and that is a combination of it being optimized for Borderlands and the console itself absolutely packing a punch. If you do decide to re-download Borderlands and play on next generation, you are definitely going to be in for a fun time. Everything that surrounded Borderlands in terms of console performance before the load times going in and out of boss farming, or the load times when starting up the game. They are all eradicated. You now have a streamlined and efficient process that has caught up with the PC capability. If you haven't tried Borderlands before and are thinking of getting Borderlands the next level, then I would definitely recommend it. You are going to get a game that is full of content, both season 1 and season 2, and there are always free events that happen across the year, not to mention the takedowns that came out last year, which were also free as well. If you're on the fence at the moment, you love Borderlands, but you are not feeling the PS4 or old Xbox performance, and you are considering getting a new console and wondering whether it will make a difference, it absolutely will do. From my personal point of view, I have spent £250 and got the same performance that I would have done if I'd have spent £1,300 on my PC. That's how much my streaming PC cost, and I am getting the same, if not better in some circumstances, performance on the £250 Xbox. So guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise I'll catch you on the flip.